Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. It is I, Mike Martins. I got a very, very important message I really want to share with you guys. And it's something that I've been talking about on this channel for many years now. And I got bombarded with a lot of these news articles today from quite a few people down under about Westpac, one of their biggest banks in Australia. Is facing fines. So I did not even read these articles yet that were sent to me, but I do want to, before we read the articles, okay, how do I know it's about money laundering? Well, I scroll down and saw this. Real estate dirty money laundering through Australia. Well, before we read this, let's go back to my prediction. Okay, so I got predictions going back on Australian money laundering, because I knew the Australian proper, there was no way housing was at the price it was, just like in Vancouver, just like in the UK, just like in Canada, and it's all the same, in New Zealand. So there was no way the Australian proper could afford that kind of property at that price. No way. So I went back and I started looking at some of the videos I did here and to try and find what my predictions were, not post-dictions. A lot of post-dictors out there, right? So here it is. So my oldest video goes back. So this is even before I moved into this house. And I moved into this house over 3 years ago. But the YouTube is stating it's 2 years old. It's actually a lot older than 2 years old, unfortunately. I don't know why their dates are so off. It could have been because this video was flagged and it was put back. Because a lot of my Australian videos were taken down. So here it is. Housing crisis Australia money laundering. So here it is here. World's worst money laundering property market, and this was from 2 years ago. I know I could vow it's over 2 years. I know it is, but it doesn't matter. Australian money laundering fiasco, and here I predicted this was 5 months ago. I think Australia. This is me, okay. This is just my opinion, okay. I don't want people to freak out here. I think Australia would have been in a recession if it wasn't for criminals. This is just the beginning. I am forecasting $80 to $105 billion in laundered money. Share this video before it gets deleted. So I made this video a while back. It was taken down. It was flagged as inappropriate. Then they put it back, okay? So that's that. Then I did this one about a year ago, money laundering by foreigners destroying housing affordability. We already know that. That's not a secret, right? So I'm trying to find my prediction video on Australia money laundering. I can't find the main one where some people could vouch for me that have seen it. It's a kangaroo scratching its head, and there's a big bubble with a house, and it says my predictions of how much was laundered. Immigration crisis in Australia, housing crisis, wake up Australia. Like this one. I filmed this video. Okay, this is Wake Up Sydney. Wake up, save your people. And this video was filmed when I lived in my second location in Vancouver. So this video is over 4.5 years old, but it's only stating 2 years right here. I haven't lived there in 4.5 years. So I don't know what YouTube is doing with the date stamping on my videos. I'm not sure if the videos have been reinstated at that time. You know what I'm trying to say? So Australia's falling. Australia's second seasoned insider gives an in-depth look. Australian price drop. Australian housing bubble bursts. It just keeps going on and on and on. Then you had this Mickey Mouse guy saying there is no housing crisis in Australia. Well, here it is, guys. Reporting on what's happening in Westpac. It is I, Mike Martins. Let's find out how close I was prediction-wise. I'm thinking $80 to $100 billion laundered through Australian housing, and I think it was 30 to 65 billion in New Zealand. Okay. Well, because the majority of New Zealanders are just renters. It's a nation of renters. Nobody even owns their own property anymore there. Okay. Westpac faces fines over serious and systematic anti-money laundering breaches, AUSTRAC says. Hopefully there's numbers here. Every time you read anything from Australia, it's so vague. They never give you real numbers. They always kind of bounce you around to kind of give you an idea of what's happening, but never the full story. And you know why they have to actually break this story? It's because probably the bank got caught. Usually when the bank gets caught or a big establishment gets caught, the news kind of has to tell the story before it goes all over social media. Then the news doesn't look responsible, right? So they have to kind of apologize now. So let's see what they're going to apologize for here. What the media is apologizing for what the bank did. AUSTRAC has applied to the federal court for civil penalty orders against Westpac for deficient oversight over its anti-money laundering and terrorism financing obligations. So it's basically it's got terms and conditions when it comes to like X amount of money being deposited, transfers being made, returns. If there's a pitfall or default on a major breach of wire transfer into an account, I think it was 1.6 million. If something over a specific amount from offshore comes in, it needs to be reported, and then it needs to be documented and sent up to the regional managers, and the regional managers sometimes decide whether or not it needs to be reported to the authorities. It depends on how their system of the chain of operation works in their system. So here it is. The bank is alleged to have breached an anti-money law, blah, 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 23 million occasions, including failures to adequately monitor the accounts of convicted child sex offenders, regularly spending money overseas to places including the Philippines. Westpac failed to carry out appropriate due diligence to customers sending money to the Philippines and Southeast Asia for known child exploitation risk, AUSTRAC alleged. The anti-money laundering regulator is accusing Westpac of failing to report more than 19.5 million international funds transfer instructions to it over a period of 5 years for money moving into and out of Australia. So this is a huge breach, because what it is, it's basically what this is high treason against all the Australian proper that pay their taxes, follow the law, work hard, build their future, and want to live the Australian dream. This is treason. The bank is committing high treason against its fellow citizens. That it's, not every citizen is with this bank, but it doesn't matter. It's crippling other key elements in the society as a whole, psychologically. It's damaging. Related to transfers, AUSTRAC alleges Westpac allowed correspondent banks to access its banking environment and the Australian payment system without conducting appropriate due diligence. Some of these partner banks do business in high-risk countries such as Iraq, Lebanon, Ukraine, Zimbabwe, Democratic Republic of Congo, potentially allowing criminals, terrorists, and sanctioned individuals and governments to transfer money into or out of Australia. So let's look at the key points here before we keep going through this. AUSTRAC alleges Westpac breach. So AUSTRAC is the legislation or the board that monitors these things, right? Alleges Westpac breached anti-money laundering laws more than 23 million occasions. I don't even think that many people live in Australia. Wow. I think it's 35 million. But still, I don't think that many Australians, let me rephrase that, live in Australia. The bank recently warned investors it was in discussions with AUSTRAC that it could face a significant financial penalty. AUSTRAC said some of the breaches related to transfers to the Philippines, Southeast Asia, raising child exploitation risks. I'm sick to the stomach right now, seriously. In a very brief statement before the Media Parliament House of AUSTRAC's Chief Executive Officer, Nicole Rose, described Westpac's behavior as serious and systematic non-compliance. Serious and systematic non-compliance leaves our financial system open to being exploited by criminals. Well, here's the deal now. If this doesn't happen, if they're not exploiting, and the bank knows this, the government knows this, all the bodies know it, all the governing bodies and the super groups and the super meetings that they have, these countries would be in a recession. If there wasn't $200 billion laundered through Canadian real estate, we'd be screwed. Canada would be in a heavy recession today if it wasn't for criminals basically keeping Canada afloat. AUSTRAC's consist statement of claim outlines that the magnitude of the theoretical maximum fine Westpac could face. Westpac has contravened the act on over 23 million occasions. I don't even think you could even count to 23 million in your lifetime. That's like 7 to 30 occasions per day. In the last 5 years, it said 6 years. That's you can't even count to 23 million. That's more. Each contravention attracting a civil penalty of 17 million and 21 million, the regulator noted. Assuming 23 million contraventions at lower end of the maximum penalties, that amounts to a potential maximum fine of 391 trillion. 391 trillion. That's not pesos. That's even in pesos. That's a lot of money. That's oof. As highlighted in the Commonwealth Bank money laundering case, the actual penalty paid is likely to be much smaller. CBA facing a theoretical maximum penalty of 1 trillion, but ended up setting AUSTRAC with 700 million in penalties of 53,700 breaches. Interesting. Westpac leaders slammed for indifference to problems. AUSTRAC's statement of claim was even more damning of the bank and its management than its media statements. These contraventions are the result of systematic failures in its control environment, indifferences by senior management, and inadequate oversight by the board is alleged. Basically, what they're trying to say, we have no idea what the hell we're doing, and maybe inadequate management or is to blame for it. Basically, that's what that's trying to say there. The stemmed from Westpac's failure to properly resource AML-CTF function to invest in appropriate IT systems and automated solutions and remediate known compliance issues in a timely manner. They have occurred because Westpac adopted an HOC approach to ML/TF, monetary laundering, terrorism financing, risk management, and compliance. So they basically started up a whole league of extraordinary bankers, or how should I put this? League of extraordinary regulators to come in and make sure things are being regulated by the book. But the regulator said billions of dollars had passed through those arrangements. Billions. Correspondent banks overseas over the past 6 years alone. Nothing that, with a significant number of payments processed under these arrangements, Westpac did not and does not know where the funds originate. Of course they don't. Of course they don't know where the funds originated. Westpac contravenes Section 81 of the Act. On each occasion, it provides a designated service where it does not have a compliant Part A program in place, they noted. These contraventions are too voluminous to qualify and are ongoing. So they don't have nothing in place. So basically what they're doing is they're just crippling the Australian proper. A lot of this money is sloshed into homes and condos and leaving them empty when people are resorted to have to move to Hobart, Tasmania, because they can't afford to live in their own major cities they grew up and were born in. But this is how it works. This is like, I'm not disappointed anymore. It doesn't even amaze me anymore that they're getting away with this, or they've been getting away with this. It's because it's not us doing it. If it was me doing it, I'd be made an example of. I'd be behind bars, and they would make a whole new story about this and how I screwed over so many people and ruined so many lives. They'd make a great. But you got to get the right people to make this mistake, and then once the right people make this mistake, then it gets exposed. Until then, Westpac could have been used by known pedophiles. AUSTRAC's conscise statement of claim of the bank's anti-money laundering monitoring failures may have allowed known pedophiles to transfer money that could have resulted in child exploitation. So we don't know this. I'm going to keep going. We don't know that, right? But they're saying it could be. Westpac has cooperated with AUSTRAC's investigation. They have to. Banks need to be re-regulated. They need to go. What's going to happen is there's going to have to have a proper regulation system in the banks and have to cut all this garbage out. I think when they say drain the swamp in Australia, I think the banks are the ones that are held liable for this garbage, right? Westpac revealed that the AUSTRAC investigation in its recent annual report, confirming it had been targeted in relation to the bank's processes, procedures, and oversight, and anti-money laundering and counter-terror financing regulations. The bank confirmed in the report it had received a number of notices from AUSTRAC relating to reporting failures, due diligence, risk assessment, and transaction monitoring. AUSTRAC said that the bank had been working with it to address these reporting problems. Westpac disclosed issues with its IFTI report, has cooperated with AUSTRAC's investigation, and has commenced with process of uplifting the AML-CTF controls. Someone said in a statement, Westpac's annual report had warned an enforcement action by AUSTRAC could result in civil proceedings and the payment of a significant financial penalty, which Westpac is currently unable to reliably estimate. Of course, we can't estimate. Like many banks around the world, we have been heavily investing in a program to work to improve and bolster management financial crime risks, including strengthening our policies, data feeding. You know what that is? And processing controls. When you go to your bank and pay off your credit card in full or want to withdraw an X amount of money, the banks have been investing in this program now to get the lenders that are standing behind the counter to already judge you and to call the manager. That's what they've been investing in. They're not looking at all the wire transfers in behind and all the illegal money pouring in and all the illegal money being put into the housing markets. No, they're not looking into that. Westpac facing penalties related to money laundering and counterterrorism laws. Again, here it is. Same thing we read here. It's going down. It's going down for real. It's going down for real. And I've been talking about this for a good long time, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you guys want to support me on Patreon for $1 a month, go ahead. Look at that. Money laundering by foreigners destroying housing availability. Australia money laundering fiasco. Check this one out from 2 years ago. Australia housing crisis. Australia money laundering. I really want to find the one where I predicted billions laundered in Toronto. I even have Better Call Saul here. I'm trying to see here. I'm just trying to see if I could find that one. There's a kangaroo on it. I can't find it, guys. I'm sorry. This is Chinese investors buying up Greece. Chinese bank wars. I'm just trying to see if I could find it. 50% crash forecasted for Australia. That was from 11 months ago. It's going down for real. Yeah, I can't. I don't see it here. Oh, well. Housing crisis, prices climb in Vancouver. This is so old. It's more than 4 years old, and it keeps showing 2 years. I don't know why. I don't know if there's like a time limit or. Anyways, guys, I wanted to throw this out there. Let me know what you guys think. Westpac faces fines. It doesn't surprise me. It's expected now, of especially when the Royal. Here, let's type in the Royal Commission here on my channel. Oops. There we go. Royal Commission. Royal Commission versus Australian banks. Australian banking disaster. What the Royal Commission is doing. Liar loans explained. Housing crash. Australian interest rates going up. And then it went up. And then it went back down. Yeah. All right, guys. If you watch this long, hey man, thanks so much. Oh, Australian house prices keep falling. It's from a year ago. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Share this video, get it out there. Let's get people following and finding out what's going on. I'm also unraveling things. If you type in casino, watch, you get all kinds of videos. Casino. Australian housing casino. Casino whistleblower in Australia sheds light. These videos don't even have more than, some of them don't even have 100 views. Because they're so suppressed. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below. Thanks for watching.